Ronnie Simpson. I'm 37 years old, from Honolulu, Hawaii. And we are in Maine for our first week of sea trials and, working with our media professional, getting media content for our new website. But basically we're doing the work that we need to do to get familiar with the boat, but also to create the content that we need to actually launch an offshore racing program. So I have been very, very fortunate to be loaned a 50-foot round-the-world racing yacht. It's an open 50 named Sparrow, and it's been around the world already twice in races. It's been around Cape Horn 3 times. Really, really cool, kind of older, round-the-world solo-style racing yacht. And I'm going to be sailing in the Global Solo Challenge, which starts September or October of 2023 for my division. And it starts in Spain, and it's a solo non-stop race around the world. And yeah, this is just the beginning of the campaign. We're just doing some sea trials. We're sailing the boat, receiving the boat from the owner. Sort of the owner has handed the boat off to me, and just putting the pieces in place that we need to really begin an offshore racing campaign, and all the vital parts like fundraising and sailing and etc. that need to happen in training, that need to happen between kind of now and then. And so I received this interesting phone call. Actually, it started with an interesting, quite cryptic email from an old friend of mine named Whitall from the Los Angeles area. So
I met Ronnie at the 2012 Transpac, and actually he and I were rafted up against each other there at the yacht club. But he was in a Moore 24 and I was in a Tartan 10.
We both did the race and got to know each other, and then a few years later he kind of bought this big crazy offshore racing boat, this Open 50. And we actually talked about doing some sailing, and it didn't quite work out.
I bought Sparrow about 5 years ago now, and I did a refit on her with the intent of sailing nonstop around the world from San Francisco down around the Great Capes back into San Francisco. And after a few years of a refit, I left San Francisco in November of 2020 and sailed out around Hawaii, then down towards Cape Horn, and rounded Cape Horn, but then had some failures, and I ended up in Chile doing repairs for a month. And at that point I had to decide whether to keep going or go back to the States. It was the middle of COVID, and all of the countries on my route were closed, actually. So South Africa and Australia, New Zealand. So I figured the U.S. would take me in, so I sailed up the Atlantic and eventually found my way here to Maine, where she's been now fixed with from all of the things that I broke on my 20,000-mile journey, and here I am, and here the boat is. And so here Sparrow was sitting here, and I thought, well, I can't do this amateur version of the Vendée Globe because of other responsibilities I have. And rather than have the boat sit here, I thought Ronnie should use it. And I view this race coming up, the Global Solo Challenge, as sort of a amateur version of the Vendée Globe, and a way to get training and a way to really learn how to sail around the world for somebody who wants to do it. And I think, yeah. So Ronnie came to mind, and I typed out a little email, very short email to him, and I knew he was super busy with media stuff for the Transpac, and to my surprise, he jumped on it, and here we are.
This was an opportunity that, I mean, it took me like 1.5 seconds, and I responded like yes, emphatically, just yes, I'm 1,000% in. And then it's just been kind of full speed ahead from there on. I mean, this was only a month ago, and I was at sea for 16 of those days on a delivery. I had to finish up some prior commitments before I could jump into this. But yeah, I'm 1,000% in from the moment he asked me the question. You know, I've been waiting for that phone call for like 10 to 12 years. Like I couldn't say yes fast enough and just fully commit to this program. Like many of life's greatest adventures, my journey with Sparrow began with a one-way plane flight, this time to Portland, Maine. Along the way, I linked up with my buddy Sean from Hawaii.
Couple of big kites here. Delivery.
With a small crew on the ground and a couple of second-hand racing sails flown in from Hawaii, we went to the hotel to begin stuffing the spinnakers into their socks for easier short-handed sail handling. The following morning, it was time to meet Sparrow for the first time. The crew at Maine Yacht Center brought her into the dock, where we wasted no time looking the boat over and preparing for our first day of sea trials.
Push it down. The opening, basically, what that does is there's a pipe that drops down. It's got a hole in it, and so now it's facing aft.
Oh, I just got a big push right there. There we go.
You go in there and you manually push the cam down.
What's not that?
Lot, and
Yeah.
I kind of like
It was
the
really,
road, and, you know, I decided I wanted to do the PSC myself.
I'm gonna go in this new shirt you got me in. I'm out.
Thanks for the new
I talked
swag.
to Bruce, he's going to cut me some deals.
Yes.
Yeah, you got me those new kites, and you know.
Yeah, that was really nice of you, Ronnie.
Thanks for the kites.
This is the Open 50 Sparrow, formerly known as Newcastle, Australia, Balance Bar, and Pegasus. Kind of a unique sprit setup, but it has proven strong and reliable, so not going to worry about it too much yet, although there is actually a better sprit setup already built. It's in California. There is furling jib. Behind that, there is a composite stay that is not a structural stay, meaning that if it failed, the rig would not come down, but if the front one failed, the rig would come down. But this stay right here is just for a smaller jib, basically. You put your small jib, which is your staysail, or your storm jib on there if it's really windy. Come back here a little bit further, you've got the mast, which is a huge carbon rig. That was all added when Philippe Kahn had the boat. It is like a big turbo carbon rig. Hydronet Maine. It's got a brand new Harkin mast track and cars. And this housetop in this deck is a custom job that was added to the boat about 8 years after it was built. And that's also a custom Philippe Kahn thing that he had done. So it's a carbon deck and the housetop and everything. And the boat is not carbon, the boat is e-glass, epoxy and glass. Sparrow, got the flag going. She is a single rudder boat. She does not have dual rudders like the majority of Open 50s. Of course, there's pros and cons to that, but this is the boat I have, and she's a great platform, and I'm super stoked to have her. You can see there's runners and checks. The runners go all the way to the top, just like any modern race boat. Big traveler right across the boat. She's got 6 winches. You use all of them a lot. You're cross-sheeting everything all the time across the cockpit. Big tiller right there in the middle. And before I go down below, we'll show you the autopilot and the rudder. Get into this hatchback here. And you can see the autopilot drive, the big hydraulic drive, and that's the hydraulic pump right there. And that is a Vendée Globe Imoca 60 sized hydraulic ram for the autopilot. And the biggest job the boat just had, it had like a $30,000 rudder bearing job, very custom job, done by the best people in the US here at Maine Yacht Center. So really, really good rudder bearings just got put in there. And that was like one of the biggest issues with the boat. Also, the emergency rudder cassette and some other stuff is back here in the back. And eventually we're probably gonna add water ballast in the back. I think I want to add aft water ballast to go around the world on this boat. Main sheet, pretty cool setup, huge carbon boom. The boom hangs off the back of the boat, which is kind of crazy. It's a huge mainsail, absolutely huge mainsail, big square top, but you have a lot of riding moments, so it's pretty cool. Pretty simple boat, just got a bunch of jammers and reef lines. Most of the halyards are on the mast actually, and the boat does not have halyard locks. It's got a couple of instrument displays and another autopilot right there. As you step down below, you've got a nav station in the middle right above the keel trunk. And you've got the AIS, and then the radar is the second one down. And the white one is the instrument display. That's a radio on the bottom. And then there is the inclinometer, tells you how tipped over you are. And you sail this boat by angle of heel quite a bit. And then it also has a battery monitor right there for the lithium batteries. You've got mainly a port pipe berth and a starboard pipe berth. If you go aft, these blue hoses and that carbon manifold, that's for the water ballast. So those are huge water tanks over there on both sides. And that is so that you can pump in seawater and sail the boat more flat and more powered up. And then you also have another kind of empty berth back there that currently has like an air mattress and a storm jib and a solar panel. But then back here, you also have another pipe berth, and then there is a watertight bulkhead with a hatch to get back to the aft part of the boat. This is the kitchen area. I'm gonna have some kind of like burner set up over here. You've got salt and freshwater foot pumps right there. We are gonna be making our own water around the world to save weight instead of carrying water. You know, a lot of this stuff is carbon where it can be, even though the boat is glass. It's had a lot of weight constantly just try to be stripped out of it. Another little cubby area up here, a little tiny sink. I don't even really know why that's there. And then there's a carbon fiber toilet as well. And then that's the hatch up to the forepeak, which just has a couple of sails, just 2 spinnakers and the staysail in there. And then it's just a really long open area to get up to the front. And you just try to keep weight out of the front or back of the boat as much as you can. Kind of keep it closer to the middle if you can. So a little bit messy right now. Did a lot of projects today. The boat needs some love, but she's just had a ton of money put into her. Structurally, I think she's a very, very good platform for what I'm, using the boat for, a race around the world on a modest budget. So, I mean, super fortunate to have this boat. She's absolutely incredible. Super fun to sail. Feels pretty quick, pretty powered up, and it's like an old little Vendée Globe boat with a fixed keel. So, I mean, it's dream come true. I think it's super cool to sail, super fun to sail, and honestly feels pretty easy to sail. Like I feel like I could go anywhere kind of right now on it. Just needs a bit more work, but all the big stuff is there. Yeah, we need to buy some sails and stuff, but even the sails on here are good. We just don't have all the sails that we need. So yeah, really, really cool boat. Super stoked to have her. And there is your first boat tour of the 1994 Open 50 named Sparrow. Make sure to check out the second episode in this series where we begin sea trialing the boat in Maine. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Mahalo.